Hola, buenos días, es Nico.
Don't be a weak ass hoe. Don't be a whack ass hoe.
I feel you.
Be the best hoe you can be.
You know when
So today we're here to talk about someone that is near and dear to my channel. At this point, I wouldn't say that we had a beef, but we've definitely had a few back and forths. Because I've never minded. I never had an issue when he would make videos about my videos concerning him, even though I was talking about systems at play rather than addressing him directly. Because if you can add in onto a dialogue, especially as someone benefiting from these totem poles, I'm not against it. But when you make videos that just consist of like 10 seconds of calling me a broke bitch and then just you cooking eggs, it doesn't add anything. You're just using me for clickbait. Which it kind of worked. That's the thing. His videos never got views until I would address them. Then people would flock and go, oh, what did he say about Nico? It's never anything like serious. But yeah, essentially we're going to be talking about Grandy Glaze and his ending of OnlyFans / gay baiting. Before we get into this topic, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me on Patreon at patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics. I'm planning on making a new tier. It's not going to have the benefits of the other ones, but it'll at least give you the extra videos that you receive in the subscription. So if you're interested in that, wait for that one to pop up. It's going to be around like $2 to make it more accessible. So yeah, let's continue. Essentially, Grandy Glaze is a beautiful man. I've never taken that away from him, and I've never come for his physical appearance because he is a beautiful man. He's tall, he's beefy and muscular, he's tatted up with proper tattoo placements. People don't understand that tattoo placements is what matters. You can have a ton of tattoos and look like a Chipotle bag. But yeah, so he has beautiful tattoo placement. He has a nice fat ass, nice muscle ass. I'm not gonna take that from him. It's a little dirty at times. Nico, what do you mean? He kind of falls into that Flashman Wade route where they do kind of scat play occasionally. But yeah, the difference is Grandy Glaze actively would gay bait. Nico, what do you mean? It's different from a Flashman Wade, and I've specified this in multiple videos, but I'll just do a short summary right here so we can continue with the topic. Flashman Wade essentially never said that he was gay. He always said that he was straight. He never leaned on bisexual. If anything, he went from jumping up and down, spreading his cheeks, to shitting before he went to dildo play. Nico, don't ask me why people jump straight to shit before they go to dildo, but that's the route he went. While Grandy Glaze, on the other hand, continued to straddle the line by saying he's bisexual, he's curious sexually, he's open with his sexuality. He would partner with Malik, who is bisexual, and sluts out every straight boy that'll have him for a certain price point. All the while, he also partnered with other straggots for nude photo shoots. Nico, what is a straggot? Exactly what it sounds like. A heterosexual man that performs homosexual activities, usually staged on camera. Nico, what do you mean usually staged? It's not like legitimate Gay4pay where you see someone genuinely doing the sexual act on camera. It's usually them faking it with camera angles, stills, proper placement of the body so that you can't see anything actually not going in. So Malik has also been exposed for doing that a few times whenever he partners up with a straggot. I think him and his Air Thugger video, I did a video response on that one because it was genuinely fake. It was just not real. They weren't actually having intercourse. It was just Air Thugger in front of him, I believe. And he was like, you know, pelvis tapping his butt. But nothing was going, it was visibly staged, is what I'm saying. So there are content creators like that. Essentially, Grandy Glaze came out to say that he low-key regretted starting an OnlyFans because he said that it derailed his actual career where he wanted to be able to be a voice and, you know, encourage and uplift children and people of the younger generation, you know, because a lot of kids and teens, especially if they're very into sports and trying to get out of the hood, they look up to basketball players. They look up to football players because though it is essentially 21st century slavery, if you're really thinking about it, Nico, they're putting their bodies on the line, wear and tear, and telling them that's their only way out of the hood. But they look up to these people. So I definitely understand him trying to say, I wanted to be someone to lift up people. I wanted to be someone that the kids could look up to, that parents weren't like blocking me from their children, that kind of thing. Because People in 2022 still do not realize there is a heavy stigma with sex work, and though we are actively trying to destigmatize it, it will wall you off of certain careers. So if you didn't know this, Grandy Glaze, I'm not going to say his legitimate name because there's no need to, we know him as Grandy. Grandy Glaze essentially was a basketball player. He was a basketball player, and I believe he had an injury, so he had to take a break. So at that point, he needed revenue. He's already a popular basketball player. He already has all these thousands of likes because he's a beautiful man on Instagram. And that was an easy way to market his OnlyFans and begin to blow it off. So at that point, he's making buku money because his Instagram is still up and running, and it allows him the liberty to advertise to thousands of people that were already sexually interested in him because he's a beautiful man, and that's usually why people followed him. Because to my knowledge, he wasn't like a big basketball player. So after his initial Instagram got taken down, he gets a fraction of the likes. He gets a fraction of the attention. He gets a fraction of the views. So at that point, his marketing is gone. He's getting exposed left and right. Nico, yeah, I did some of the exposing. It was news. I had to cover it. What was that video? They were saying nasty things about her, and I was retweeting it. Yeah, I was retweeting. I didn't say anything nasty, but I did address what he was doing and how it was kind of fishy. So essentially, the girls got tired of it because they're like, okay, well, obviously you're not gay. You're going on homophobic rants. You're saying you'll never sleep with a man, but you're teasing these man-on-man scenes just to get money out of us. So at that point, he's lost his marketing because Instagram followers are pretty, a lot are pretty, you know, they don't think. That's a lot of the general populace. A lot of the general populace doesn't sit down to think about these kind of things. They're just like, oh, he has an OnlyFans, I'll subscribe. So he doesn't have that mass marketing to those people anymore. The girls are wisening up because all he's doing is saying really gay shit on Twitter, but never actually doing anything. So it's just throwing your money away. So at this point, marketing is gone, audience is gone, his numbers are gone, he's making no money. He's making no money. And I'm not pocket watching. I'm not one of those people that does that. It's just 2 + 2 = 4. You know what I mean? If you don't have the marketing, you don't have the audience, and now you're trying to look back into a different career, the money is gone. The money is always going to run dry. That's what people don't understand about OnlyFans, especially in a sense of Gay4pay where you're just jumping up and down and spreading your cheeks. If you don't have a sense of transparency, if you don't have a loyal fan base, especially if you're moving funny by claiming you're gonna be doing gay things, but then actively saying you were never really gonna do them, you're gonna lose revenue. You're gonna lose revenue because there's very few straight people, or at least very few performers in general, that have a consistent fan base to make a quality living off of. Just because there is an overabundance and oversaturation in the OnlyFans market. And Nico, what do you mean? Everybody has OnlyFans. Everybody has OnlyFans. As soon as you hit a certain mark in your career, you get an OnlyFans, you get a quick bag, and then you fade out. You fade out, and now both of your images are kind of like, because now you're qualified as a sex worker. So some companies don't want to associate with you anymore. But at the same time, the sex work isn't bringing in the money anymore because people are tired of the shenanigans. So a lot of people on OnlyFans are not making as much money as they claim to be, or they're not making as much money as they used to be. There are only a few top 1 percentile of OnlyFans users. If you see somebody with top 10, top 6% in their profile, it doesn't mean shit. Nico, what do you mean? It's because majority of the users of OnlyFans are patrons. So at that point, them being the top 6%, it's not qualifying in for like 80% of the people being patrons. So yeah. Point is, OnlyFans isn't bringing in that kind of money anymore, and even for the big dogs, it's not bringing in that kind of money anymore just because of the oversaturation, and there's a limit to how much money is going to go into a specific market, because it's not like it's a Pornhub subscription. It's not like it's a Poppy Thug subscription where you pay and you get multiple performers, multiple scenes. No, this is you paying individual people for their privatized property, and at that point, there's only so much money you're gonna spend on adult cinematography a month. Hopefully you're responsible with your wallet, you know? So back to Grandy Glaze. He's coming to the realization that people were viewing him as strictly as a sexual object, which unfortunately a lot of sex workers go through. Because I was actually on a live of one of my favorite sex workers. I don't know if I should shout him out. I love you, baby mama, if you see this. But yeah, essentially he was saying that he's tired of being objectified, you know, because being objectified is a part of the job when you're selling sex, especially if you fall into a minority of a person of color selling sex, because then you're a sex worker, but you're also probably a fetish. So at that point, you're being objectified left and right, and no longer viewed as a person. And that's why I'm approaching this conversation with kitten gloves, because when I saw him say that, I related to it. Because if you don't know, I used to be a go-go boy. I used to be more actively an Instagram model. I still post every now and then bad bitch things, but I try to lead with my personality and my intellectual side more so, because it opens more dialogues than people just going, oh, I want to suck on your titties, that kind of thing. So I related to him when he said, all my old fans, I'm starting to see that y'all just saw me as a sexual object, and thank you for those that are actually encouraging me to get into my new career that I always wanted to do, and leaving this behind and understanding. Because a lot of people are upset that he's leaving this behind, because some view it as, I've put so much money into your OnlyFans career, I put so much money into this idea that you were finally going to do something gay on camera, and now you're backing out. When there's no money in it. Like, that's the thing. It's like, y'all invested your money into this man that has actively had conflicting public viewpoints saying that he'll never have sex with another man, and now you're upset that he's retiring his OnlyFans before he has sex with another man, when he said he was never going to do that. So I definitely understand the upsetness that you invested so much money into someone, but like I always say when I address Gay4pay, there would not be Gay4pay performers if you did not fund a straight man stealing your money. That's what I always say this. There would not be so many Gay4pay straggots taking your money if you were not giving it to them. So when he says, I'm retiring because I finally got a basketball contract again, because I believe he's going to play in Mexico. I finally got a basketball contract again, which is what I wanted to be doing from the jump, because he was originally a basketball player. I support that. Because a lot of y'all don't understand, sex work does not have longevity. If we talk about, let's say, Tiger Tyson, who is one of my personal faves, he used to do sit-down interviews, and they would be like, so why did you start your own production company? And he said, there's a lot of money in being a performer, but there's more money on the back end if you're a producer. Because as a performer, you get your scene and you get out. As a producer, you pay the performers for the scene, you get that scene, and you get the royalties. And after he made enough with his productions, he vanished. Because sex work is not a longevity-based career, because it is based physically on your physical appearance. Then you have to factor in ageism, fat phobia, because as you get older, you will not be able to maintain that body/libido. So once he got enough money, he kicked back and he retired, and I respected that. And I also respect that for Grandy Glaze, because as we see, other big name performers have tried to get out before. When we look at Chico Black actively tried to leave the porn industry. He got a legitimate corporate America job, and then somebody did not like that he left the porn industry, and they sent his adult cinematography to his new job and got him fired, and he was destroyed on the timeline. I remember he was so distraught on the timeline and defeated, and said, you know what, fuck it. If y'all want me back here, I'll be back at sex work. So I mean, some people will not be happy to see you leave, whether it be that they just enjoyed your content or they have a complex to feel like they're greater than. But I personally respect and support when people make enough money to actually follow their dreams, rather than the OnlyFans girls that use all of their money just to fuck around and fly to like Mykonos or fly to Fire Island. You know, if you're actually putting this towards your goal, if you're actually putting this towards your future career, I support it 1000%. Obviously, I support all sex workers, but I support your movement even more if you're doing it with a goal in mind, because the money is not infinite. That's the same thing with YouTube. I love YouTube, I love you guys, and I love having these discussions and conversations, but I know that eventually I will not captivate the same amount of an audience. So I'm putting the money that I earn here towards my actual career, towards actually moving out, towards starting my life. So I'm not going to fault Grandy for that. But I do think it was a rude awakening to see how people legitimately saw him as strictly a sexual object. When he thought, oh, this is cool, I'm a celebrity, I'm this, I'm that. Sex work is fun. Sex work is fast money. Sex work is a nonstop party, but it's also draining. Sex work is a draining business because it wears on your body, it wears on you mentally, and it wears on you spiritually. I'm not a super spiritual person, but every sex worker that I meet, at least everyone's that have retired, because active sex workers usually don't talk about the downsides of being, you know, the sex work, but the ones that have retired always said, to me at least, the personal ones that I know, I felt like I was selling my soul. I felt like people didn't respect me. I felt demeaned by the things that people would say to me. So people don't understand it's fast money, it's good money, and it's legitimate work, but it also has a dark side, like any other industry. But this one, since it pertains to your physical appearance, it will tear you apart if you are not ready for this kind of commitment. And I feel like that's what Grandy had to go through. Because now that he has his actual basketball contract and he's moving on to a legitimate career, as in a career with longevity, he deleted his Twitter. He took down the OnlyFans links. He's trying to get back on the straight and narrow so he can continue the career that he always aspired for. So in short, I agree with him that he should leave sex work, especially because he doesn't have the marketing, he doesn't have the audience anymore, and his legitimate career push was always to do basketball. I support it. I definitely support it. As long as you have a goal in mind, sex work is always a option to fund it. But you have to realize that it's also going to stop some of those bags. Because like he said, it's affected his actual career trying to get new contracts because now he's a global sex worker. Because at this point, he's been on live with Tiffany Haddish. And once Tiffany Haddish found out that he did Gay4pay, she became instantly homophobic. So I mean, it's a blatant thing that we got to see in real time. And I'm not someone that preys on others' downfalls. I'm not someone that loves to see people fail. But I do love to see that he actually got his chance in the end with his actual career. So yeah, definitely drop your opinions down below. Do you believe sex work and/or OnlyFans has a longevity to it? Do you think that it should be used strictly as a vehicle to get to where you want to career-wise? Do you think that Gay4pay is finally going to end now that people are coming to the realization that they're not getting anything out of it? As in, yes, it's a fantasy, but it's a very bare bone one. Because as we can see, most of these Gay4pay artists, the Latino XXXL, the Air Thuggers, the Grandy Glaze, they're not actually doing anything. They're just jumping up and down naked. And obviously, if you want to see that, spend your money how you want to. But to me, when there are people that are actually doing the sexual acts and getting down and dirty, that's a waste of $1. But everybody has their kinks. So yeah, definitely drop your opinions down below.
And once again, a quick thank you to all my patrons on Patreon and a quick shout out to my third eye tier patrons. Your support means everything to me and helps me do this a lot more smoothly. I will also be listing this week's live stream topic in case anybody wants to join in on the fun. I will see you guys there.